Welcome to my Scrappin space. I'm Joni Martin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator located in Southwest Wisconsin. And today I'm going to show you how to use a tag from this page of tags that's included in Wildflower Birthday. What do you say we get my face out of the way and we do some creating? Wildflower Birthday is a suite in the January to April mini catalog. And you have two of this page that has so much versatility. It is all tags. Look at everything you get here and various sizes. I'm going to use this one, but once you see how I make this card, you could use these tags for a variety of things. And remember, this is the paper pack that has also all those wonderful die cuts. I have some cards with those die cuts on my Scrappin' with Joni blog. So you could take one of those die cuts and add them to one of these other tags. So much you can do with this. But before we start the card, let's just take a second and talk about cutting apart this page of tags so you get the best use of the tags. We're going to look for lines that go straight across the paper. So what I'm saying is, like this one doesn't go straight across. It's cut off here and cut off here. But see this top one right here? That goes straight across. So that's going to be, and it's the only line that goes straight across. So that's your first cut on this paper. Let's cut this apart in tags really quickly so I can show you how easy it is to do. I'm grabbing my paper cutter. And for me, this is the top of my paper cutter. It has a lip. The bottom has a lip too. I know some of you like to cut the other way. We won't call it the wrong way, but for me, it's easier to cut this way with my cutting blade on this side. So I'm gonna line up. This is like your cutting gutter where your blade goes, and that line is going to be right there. And the line I'm talking about is not an actual line drawn on here, but it's where one print stops and another one starts, and there's a clear line all the way across. So if I make one cut, I can separate those. I'm going to hold my hand here to keep it tight against there. I'm going to take the cutting blade, which is the dark blade, and push up towards there. So we're all working in the same direction here. And when I do that, I have a whole sheet of tags. When we start the card, we'll talk a little bit about cutting these apart, but that's your first cut. Then when I look at this, the next line that goes all the way through without cutting into something is actually going this way. So we're going to make two cuts there. Again, I'm holding it tight against here and pushing up. Going to check that I'm in that cutting gutter. So by cutting it this way, I haven't cut into any of the tags. I still can use all these pieces. We're going to do the same thing here. And once you have these cuts made, just checking that I'm straight here. There we go. Now it's just a matter of cutting them apart, like cutting here, here, and here. And you're going to do that for all of these pieces. But the piece we want is this one. So let's cut that apart. Though I think this would be a great card too. I just haven't gotten that far yet. I get so distracted by all the potential for these pieces. And what you really want to see is just for me to make one card, right? Yeah. This card is written up on my blog. It has, so you're going to go to scrappinwithjoni.com. It has for you every supply I used, the directions, and the measurements. So the only thing left to do when you get to this piece is to get those little extra white pieces off, because that takes away from the look of a tag. So we're just going to go one cut. There we go. There we go. How easy was that? Now on the back of this paper is this really fun, this is peach pie, and it's a peach pie and white print. So I use the bottom half of the paper with the tags I wasn't using for the background of my card. Look how great everything coordinates. So let's now make the card. This card is not what you might think of in terms of a typical card, because the only part that opens is this piece. It's called a flat base card. So, you know, we often think of cards that there'll be another piece here that opens. Nope, it's just right here. So the first thing we're going to do, let's get all the pieces out of here, is we're going to take, we have a solid piece of peach pie, and the print. So again, that's just the back of one of the tags I wasn't going to use. And I'm going to center this. This is, we talk about standard size mat. This is larger. This would be as if you took one of those folded card bases and cut it in half. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But again, all those numbers are on my blog. I'm going to emboss it next. So that means I'm going to grab a tape runner for my adhesive rather than the multi-purpose glue, because we're going to put some pressure on this as we run it through our cut and emboss machine. And I don't want glue going everywhere. So that's going to go there. And before we do anything else, we're going to add texture. So this is what it looks like now. And then look what it does when you add some texture. Such an easy thing to do. And really just add so much to the card. I chose Eyelet embossing folder. You can use any overall embossing folder. When I get an embossing folder, I put the name of the folder on and the plates, meaning which plates am I going to use in the cut and emboss machine. So we're going to put this in here. And it's a little sticky, so that means in class, I didn't probably give it good enough directions to not use it on multi-purpose adhesive, because this is what I'm talking about. See how it sticks? When you run that through there, that adhesive is going to come out. So we're going to take just a second here and clean that off, because if I don't, that's going to get on my next card, and we don't want that. So I keep these little alcohol wipes at my desk. They're great for cleaning off adhesive from my paper cutter, certainly from the glass mat, and we're just going to sneak it off of here too. And the great thing about being, one, the alcohol really lifts that adhesive, but it dries so quickly. And I think I have all of it. So I hope that doesn't happen to you, but if it does, see how quick and easy that was to fix. Okay, so we're going to give that a second to dry, and we'll pull out our cut and emboss machine. And we're using plates 1 and 4. You always use plate 1 for whenever you're using machine. And our plates are numbered. Plate 1. Now, we're going to take this piece. It's already dry. And I like to line it up on that line. But the most important part is that I don't want, do you see how I have a little gap here? I want that. If I take this and push it all the way up, or all the way to the edge, I'm going to have some spots that are not embossed. We don't want that. So we're just going to kind of center it. There we go. I just want to make sure I can see embossing everywhere through there. I'm going to lay down my embossing folder, and then I'm going to grab a plate 4, which in this system is your gray ones. You always want to make sure there's a plate on top. And then we're just going to roll it through, just like that. As we say around here, easy peasy. There we go. And we're done with our cut and emboss machine. This is a card that comes together pretty quickly. Look at that. There we go. Now for the front, I grabbed another color in here. I grabbed soft seafoam, and I have scored it right in half. And this piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is exactly the same size as this piece. But I've scored it in half, which scored it right halfway through, which made it easier for people in class to fold it and to know where to fold it. And we're going to give that a nice, use the bone folder to get a really good fold on there. Then for the inside, I needed Mother's Day cards. So but you could make it a birthday card, a quick little thank you, a thinking of you. I grabbed this stamp set called A Day With You. It's perfect for Mother's Day and Father's Day cards, or even just, you wouldn't have to use a Mother's Day or Father's Day sentiment and use something else in here. So you're pretty great. I love you. Doesn't matter what we do as long as I'm with you. Now, I honestly I don't gravitate towards this type of stamp set, because when you first look at it, what I think of is coloring, and then I think I don't color. But there's some great sentiments. I'm glad I grabbed it. I wouldn't want to miss it. And you know, sometimes I like having a little sentiment. And so that is what I stamped on here. Happy Mother's Day. And I had a bit of a scrap left over from the paper I used on the front. So we're going to attach that across the top. And when you cut up those tags, you know, there's going to be pieces that you think, I don't know how I'd use that. That isn't something I'd use. But you could still use the other side for something. And that's going to go right on here. I have it longer than I need because it's just easier for my fingers to grab it. There we go. And while we have the glue out, let's get that envelope flap done, because you and I both know we are not sending a card this pretty in a naked envelope. So I'm going to attach paper just to the envelope flap. I'm going to fold my envelope flap back just because it's easier for me to attach and glue that way. We're going to grab the multi-purpose glue again. This is a great use of the multi-purpose glue because you want glue all the way around. You want that envelope flap attached securely. If there's an opening or it's loose, it could get caught in a postal machine, and that's not pretty. And I managed to get glue on my glass mat. Before I get that glue onto a card, I'm just going to quick grab it. There we go. All right. I have glue on there. And then we're going to put this on here, just like this. There we go. We'll come back to that. Let's trim this up. I'm going to turn the card insert over. Probably the smallest card insert you've ever seen, huh? There we go, but big enough to write a little note of love inside it. And really, that's all you need in a card. This is going to go inside our card. And a little bit of, I use Seal Plus as my tape runner. You know, whatever works for you. That I have found to be the easiest for me to use. I love using tape runner, not quite as messy. That's going there. Now on the front is our tag. And I'm going to attach that flat because I'm going to put some embellishments on it that are going to pop up, and I don't want it to be too thick or to stick out too much in the envelope. There we go. And that's just going on here. And look how that comes together. Just like that. And then it's going to go, like it could go in the corner. I've been centering it, which I don't usually do, but for this it works. Because those of you who watch know I spend way too much time deciding if it's quite in the center. I'm going to use the multi-purpose glue for this because I'm gluing to a pretty heavily embossed surface. It's a little easier to see in back how much embossing there is. And the multi-purpose glue is going to, while we don't want it to spread out when we're embossing, it's great to spread out when we're attaching it to an embossed surface because it kind of fills in. I'm being pretty generous. It goes into all that, those nooks and crannies on that embossed surface. But did you notice I'm leaving some space all the way around? Here, I'll hold it up so you can see. So when I push it down, that extra glue has a place to go and doesn't come out on my card front. So if I start with my card base straight, I'm more likely to get everything else on it straight. There we go. And we're going to give this a second to catch. Now, I was talking about embellishments. I have, and these are the embellishments that come with that are part of the Wildflower Birthday Suite. You can order as part of the whole suite or just separately. They are called party dots. Isn't that appropriate for a card? And I'm grabbing the peach pie ones. So you certainly could grab other ones on here. And just 3 are going to work for me. I like an odd number. And I like to have them in a roughly triangular shape, which just means one of my embellishments is hanging out by itself and the other 2 are closer together. Just like that. And I'm not sure, I'm going to wait and see if the light catches it. See, there's peach pie running through here, running through there. So it all comes together. There's your card. Let's grab that envelope flap. And we're going to trim it. Just like that. And this card is done. All it needs is a little note and a signature. And those Mother's Day cards are ready to go. There you go. Just like that. Hey, whether you're watching me on Facebook or on my YouTube channel, thanks for watching. I appreciate it more than you know. If you liked what you saw, please share it with your crafty friends. Until next time, take care and keep crafting. It's good for you.